So I did a video that sits in front of this one, and it explains a very simple Betfair trading strategy. And it's one that's simple to understand, it's pretty logical, and you get very clearly defined entry and exit points. I mean, what more could you want? It's very simple to understand, very simple to execute. And of course, all trading requires a little bit of skill, but nonetheless, this was a very clearly defined, simple to understand trade. In this video, what we're going to do is we'll quickly reappraise that, but we'll also take it up a level, because one of the things that you should do when you're actively trading is you should be looking to be a little bit cleverer than other people within the market. And fortunately, if you have betangel, that's pretty simple to do. So we're going to reappraise very quickly what we did in the previous video, and then we're going to just nudge it up another level by using a clever little trick with something that you can do within the software, and that will allow you to perform this trade better than other people in the market. So to summarize the strategy that we had before, what we were doing is basically looking up and down the book, looking for places where there wasn't much money. So for example, here at 7, putting an order in there, and the basis on that is that if the price rises up towards this level, we can actually sit here with our mouse and ping an order in at 6.8. Which will then mean that we get matched at 6.8, and we've got 7 sat in a queue. You can see there's a little bit of money behind there, but we're very far in front of the queue, so laying at 6.8, our back order is in at 7. Those two orders will get matched fairly quickly. And of course you could do it, at the other end. So if you laid at 4.7 as the market came down towards 4.7, we'd just hover our mouse at 4.8 and back. And of course the back order would get taken instantaneously, and we're at a favourable position at the front of the queue at 4.7. But the advantage as well is money will accumulate behind these positions, so it'll take longer by the time the market reaches these positions to get those orders taken, but we're in a favourable position in the queue. So the basis on this trade is that we get matched very, very quickly on both sides. So I'm just going to cancel those, and I'm going to give you a slightly different angle on that. I'm going to put an order in here at 7. I'm going to put an order in here at 8.6, we'll put one here at 9, and I can't be bothered with the favourite, to be honest. But if we actually look at this particular market, if the favourite starts to come down, it will lift the prices up, and one of these will get hit. So we're not saying at this moment in time that you know which one it is, but basically just the general wobbliness of the market, for want of a better word, will ensure that one of these orders gets taken out. Where you see there's £300 here, we're at £73 in the queue, 157 we're at 24, 200 we're at 91. So if the market comes up towards these levels, then there's a bit of money that is accumulated in front of us, not much to be honest in this market, and then we will be able to get those orders taken. So all we need to do is sit and wait for stuff to happen. So on this third ladder here, you can see the money is approaching this level. We'll see if that gets taken first. I think that it probably will. I'm expecting a little burst of activity in the market here. Here we go. So can you see what happened there? Money appeared at 8.4, and I didn't click the mouse. I didn't do anything. It just magically appeared at 8.4. You can see that we're getting matched on both sides, and there's our profit. Now it could be happening here at the second favourite. We've got to be careful because they're loading quite quickly here. Don't think it's going to happen over here. We'll see if this money gets taken at 6.8. Come on, buddy. Somebody take that money. Down to the last 2 horses. Not sure it's going to get matched. It's looking more and more likely. So typically what I'd do is I'd have my finger here ready to hit the button, but I'm going to move my mouse away from here. I'm just hoping that this gets matched. But can you see what happened there? Can you see something interesting happen there? The order was just taken out of the market. That's great, because I was looking for 2 examples of what we're trying to do. I'm just going to hedge this before this race goes in play. But we're actually using some additional features of betangel here to help you deploy this strategy even more effectively than we did in the other video. So I'm going to explain in more depth now exactly how we've done that. So if we look at the full betangel screen here, I've pointed it to a race that's much further in the future, so I've got time to actually describe what I'm doing here. But what we're actually doing is, if you look over on the right hand side here, we are using a servant. And if you want videos specifically on the servants, you can look those up, because I'm not going to explain all of the details on what goes on with the servant. It's quite a busy little tool that you've got here, but basically a servant will allow you to automate certain functions within the market. So what we've done here is we've looked at that previous trade that we did, and in order to get an execution edge, we have created a servant to help us do that. And if we assign the servant to certain keystrokes, you can see here control and left click is an opening lay bet, alt and left click is an opening back bet. So if I go into the market and I basically click here, then that has placed a trade, and that is just a manual trade. There's nothing clever going on with this particular trade. However, oops, I placed two of them. Why not? However, if I hold down the Alt key and left click, what you will actually see something happen here. So what you will see is a little green icon comes up next to the runner that you're actively trading, and you can see that it has activated a servant. And what a servant is a little bit of automation that looks at what you're doing within the market and automates that activity for you. So it can actually inherit characteristics, place better trades, look for key information within the market before placing a trade. Or what we've used it for on this occasion is it looks at where the money is within the market, and then it decides what to do. Will it actually scratch that trade, or will it actually go ahead and place a counter bet on that trade as it approaches that price? Now, to talk you through the detail of the servant itself is a little bit complex, but you don't need to worry about that really, because we've actually got it on the forum for you. But if we go in and edit the rules, the rules file on this particular servant, I can talk you through some of the clever things that it does. But you can see here are the rules that we've asked this servant to look for. You can see that they're always armed, so it's always scanning and checking to see if we're putting a trade within the market. The first thing that it does is stop other servants within the market. So we can put one trade in on these particular runners, but you don't want to put two in on the same runner, because one will cancel the other. That's a safety measure that you've got within there. And then if you place, it could be a back or a lay bet, it will place that bet, but using things like stored signals, it will actually remember where you placed that bet, and you can apply other characteristics to it. So you can see here we're saying we've entered the market, so can you record where we actually entered the market? And then of course it uses that information to place the lay bet. So when the market approaches that particular point within, when the price approaches that particular point within the market, then it will actually look to place a lay bet conditional on the price of the back bet, the money that's available, and various other criteria. Like I said, I'm not going to talk you through this in great depth because it's available on the forum. The best way to learn how to build these things is to download some of these, use it in practice mode and modify it and just play around with it basically. But you can see here it's also added in the ability to scratch a trade. So it's basically saying, if I don't think that this trade is going to fill, then just dump it. And you've seen an example of a trade that's filled and one that has been scratched on this particular video, which is perfect. But yeah, rather than explain all of the detail on this, you should go and download the file and have a play around, and always use practice mode when you're getting familiar with these things. But what we've done is we've taken quite a simple trade and then we've semi-automated some of the functions of it, because if you were to do this manually, you'd have to think very, very fast. But using a servant, you can actually get it to do all of the hard work for you when it comes to that actual point of execution. Now obviously that was on the screen already, but you can actually see that we've got a servant icon on the top right up here. So if you click on the servant icon, you can actually see all of the information within here. There's a lot of detail. You probably need to read up and watch some videos on servants, but also you'll notice that the color of the servant changes depending upon if it's active or not. If I stop all servants on this market, you can see it turns red. And then if I go into this market and click, you can actually see that the green appears on the runner that it is active on, and you can see that it shows that it's active up there, and you can see that also within the servant itself. And of course you can do it on more than one runner if you so wish, and then that is reflected within the actual display. So yeah, we've taken a simple trade, one that we were doing manually, we've enhanced it and made it much more effective by adding a bit of semi-automation using servants.